One of the key benefits of becoming a naturalized U.S. citizen is that you can file a petition for your mother and father and get them green cards. But in this video, I'm going to explain to you the 3 biggest mistakes that people make when applying for green cards for their parents. You don't want to miss this information. The 3rd one is especially important, so stick around. I'm Josh Goldstein. I'm an immigration lawyer, and I created this channel, Immigration Station, just for you. It's all about how to help you reach your immigration goals. And one of the key goals that people have is helping their mother and father become a U.S. citizen. But there are 3 big mistakes that people make. The first mistake is that thinking that a green card is a better version of the tourist visa. With a tourist visa, you can come to the U.S. and you can visit for a short duration. But if you help your parents get a green card by filing a visa petition for them, what you're going to do is you're going to get them permanent residency in the United States. They'll become lawful permanent residents. They'll have green cards. Lawful permanent residents are required by law to live physically in the United States. The idea behind this is that you petition for your parents, and once they get approved, they get their immigrant visa, they come to the U.S., they are leaving their home country. They're saying goodbye. They're selling their house. They are immigrating to the United States where they plan to live permanently forever. For some people, this is great. This is exactly what they want. They want to leave their home country and they want to move to the U.S. But for many people, they are shocked at this information. I didn't know that they had to move to the U.S. I want to get them a green card so they can come and visit during the summers, during the winter. I just don't want them to have to hassle with the visitor visa. And I thought that this is just a cooler version of the visitor visa. It is not. With the visitor visa, there are limits to how long you can come into the U.S., how long you can stay, and how frequently you can travel in and out. You can't look like you're living in the U.S. With a green card or lawful permanent residency, you have similar restrictions, but in the other direction. You can't spend considerable amounts of time outside the U.S. You have to physically live in the U.S. all the time. Does this mean you're a prisoner? No, but you have to stay in the U.S. It's for people who are immigrating to the U.S. It's not a cool version of the tourist visa. Number 2, you think that as a green card holder, you can just do the whole back and forth thing. There is this idea that if you get the green card, you don't really have to permanently and exclusively live in the U.S. You can just come and go back and forth, stay here however you like, go back to your home country when you want. You are just free to come and go as you wish, but that's not true. U.S. citizens, people who are naturalized U.S. citizens, can travel without restriction. There's no residency requirement for U.S. citizens, but permanent residents have to permanently reside in the U.S. If your plan is to get a green card for your mother or your father and then have them just come and go as they please, that would be a massive mistake. The 3rd mistake, and this is probably the most important one, is that many people apply for a green card for their mother and father, not because they think their mother and father want to move to the United States and immigrate in the United States and live in the United States exclusively right now, but because they might, maybe at some point in the distant future, who knows when, they might want to come to the U.S. Well, folks, it doesn't work that way. Once your mother and father get approved, their immigrant visa is approved, they have 6 months to enter the U.S. Once they enter the U.S., if everything is done properly, the green card shows up. They're lawful permanent residents. They're required, as a mandatory legal obligation, they're required to exclusively live in the United States. What you're thinking, if you're making this mistake, you're thinking, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them a green card because someday they might want to move to the U.S. That's a big mistake, because what happens is if you get the green card and you don't live in the United States, you get deported. and it's not fun. I'm the one who gets these calls, so I know. You go into the US after spending so much time abroad, and the immigration officer pulls you aside and says, listen.
Where have you been living?
And the person says,
I've been coming back and forth like everybody else.
They're gonna make your mother and your father see an immigration judge, and they're gonna try to deport your mother and father through a process called abandonment proceedings. They're gonna try to legally strip your mother and father's green card away. And it's not fun. This is to be avoided. So the first question you have to ask yourself before you apply for a green card to your mother and father is, Do your parents have an immediate need to leave their home country and live exclusively in the U.S.? And if the answer is yes, then you should proceed with the application. When I present this information to people, I get a bunch of objections, and I'm going to go through them right now because they're informative. The first one people say is,
Josh, is this some kind of new rule that you have to live in the U.S. with a green card? I never heard of this.
it's not a new rule. Permanent residents have to permanently reside in the U.S. exclusively and physically. They have to live in the U.S. It's not a new rule. This is the way it's always been. The second objection that people say is they say,
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I don't really believe it because I know so many people that have green cards and they go back and forth all the time. And you said we can't do that, but they're doing it and they've been doing it for years with no problem.
and to this, I say it works until it doesn't. You can get your green card and you can live abroad and you can go back and forth in violation of the residency requirement, and that will work fine until the day that it doesn't. And when it doesn't work anymore, when your mother or your father has that ugly interaction at the airport with the immigration officer, I'm going to be the one getting the call. And people are going to be saying, oh God, how can we fix this? What do we do? And you want to avoid all that. And you can avoid it by not getting a green card for people that don't want to live in the U.S. It's just that simple. The third objection, it's kind of an objection, is people say,
Well, what's the maximum amount of time that you can stay outside the U.S.?
before I answer that question, I would say that if you're asking this question, you're probably doing it the wrong way. If you're already thinking about how long can I stay outside the U.S. with a green card, then why bother getting the green card? Just get a visitor visa and come in here and there for a couple of months and leave it at that. But if you had to press me on an answer, I would say you can probably stay outside the U.S. for roughly 2 months a year. Now that might seem restrictive, but that's the way it is. You have to be physically in the United States to get a green card. If that makes sense, and if you have questions about them, put them in the comments below. I'll answer each one personally. I'll even try to answer with a video. Thanks.